Welcome back and or to the channel. Trucker Ride in the S.E.E channel. And I don't know if my hat's on straight. I just jumped in front of the camera here. Almost lost track of time again. And nearly back-to-back 600-mile days. Look at that. I forgot to turn the volume down. I was just sitting here. So how's everyone doing tonight? And turn this volume down. So, yeah, I left yesterday. I had to go south of Hagerstown, Maryland from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I, almost 640 miles yesterday and nearly 600 miles today. So got nearly half the trailer unloaded over the course of four stops today and a lot more miles tomorrow. But hey, before we get started, if you could smash that like button if you will, please, and subscribe to the channel. Holy cow, look at this guy just racing in here. I turn you guys around and you watch the parking lot. We are at the Loves. I don't know what's the love, but this guy here turning in front of the camera come racing in here. And of course it's a Volvo. And probably more of the most people that drive Volvos seem to be the most disrespecting for rules, people, policies, everything and anything. But if you'd see the back of the trailer, which if you could, yep, that explains everything there. Why I never will drive for such carriers. So, if you could, yep, subscribe to the channel. We are picked up, I think, 1 or 2 subscribers over on the RK Auto Detailing channel, and I will be getting on top of that probably towards the end of October here. As you know, I sold my second property in place, so emptying a second house out, we dumped it in our living room. So Saturday night, after I was getting things squared away and orchestrated around the house, we started putting things, kind of putting them away, and in lieu that we know we're going to turn around and have to pull things out, we're going to be putting a ton of stuff up for sale. We need to thin everything out. We're not going to stay in this house we're in currently, our primary house. We are like in a 55 and over, if you'd want to say, like a community that it's all right, but it's getting too expensive for the HOA fees. So we're going to be trucking along, looking for something else going into next year. So with that, we're just getting prepped and ready. So getting rid of the second place really took a lot of stress and everything off me, trying to keep 2 houses up on my own. And got my other car back. My daughter was very fortunate to find a nice Kia Telluride, and a car that she more fit her style and comfort. My car is just a little bit, it's a Ford Fusion Sport, and it's just too low and too rough for the type of work she's doing. She's going to be on the road a little more with doing dental implant sales and stuff like that. But anyhow, what else? Yeah, last Friday the Sean Duffy came out. I'm gonna cap that right now because, yeah, overall, hopefully things get more traction as the months progress. You know, I'm not supporting these illegal immigrants or these dummies that New York, Chicago, Illinois, California mainly, they pump these illegal, I want to say illegal immigrants, but illegal drivers out on the road. So I don't know, a lot of people don't do much about it. When there's an accident and all that, my wife knows how I snap when I'm pissed on the road. when these guys do some of the dumbest stuff, and if I was a victim, to say if I was a victim, they would be the victim at the end of the day. To sit there and argue with these guys in a fuel island and that, dude, I'd take a billy club, take my tire club up there and go knock their window in. You know, get your shit going. And half of these guys are camping out on the fuel islands. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen not just foreigners, but even other people. The lazy slobbiness and mindset of these pig ass truck drivers out here. I mean, these SOBs that have they'd be heart attack dads or moms out here walking into the damn Loves, you know, from their truck. I mean, Christ, you know, they're got sweat running down their ass cheeks just to walk in there. They're struggling so bad. It's like, oh my gosh, it is something else to see, you know. And a lot of them, they see me jumping around at going on 60, you know, and I'm buzzing around my truck. I clean my mirrors, windows, clear my headlights. I post trip. I do a full walk around. I keep the trailer charged, listen for air leaks, checking my tread depth, my tires, my brakes, looking for anything hanging down, any leaks, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've watched these guys come, you know, barreling into a parking space, and that's it. And then as soon as they set the brakes and can log off, they're on their phone. So, yeah, that's it's a real crying shame. I guess, I don't know for who, but I look out for not only myself, but I keep an eye out for the want to say dum-dum out there that's driving around like Helen Keller, you know, whether they're running over people, running through things, or trying to take a shortcut, or, you know, across the median and through the woods and over the hill to Grandma's house. It's quite comical to watch some of these truck drivers out here, let alone the cars, you know. So that's just my opinion. You know, I've been out here long enough. I've been out here the 1980s decade, the 1990s decade, the 2000s, the 20-teens, and the 2020s. So what's that cover? 5 different decades of different generations and and 5 decades of different you know, mindsets. So there's a lot of good drivers out here. Those are the ones I can talk to and have a conversation. And then there's ones that, you know, I've laid into, you know, one of these little foreigners that were throwing their feet up on the sink at a TA to wash their feet. Absolutely not. And I laid into them. I literally clenched my fist. I was ready I was literally going to knock him out for just, you know what? If you're that nasty and filthy, go take a shower. But if you got to throw your feet and what else, back your ass crack up to the vanity sink in the bathroom to where you wash your hands, you know, because you're trying to bathe there, because, you know, your broke ass took a 20 cents a mile job for Amazon or one of these other shitbox carriers, you know, I wouldn't touch it. I mean, I see all these YouTubers out here driving for Prime, Swift, Knight, JB Hunt, Snyder. I mean, you guys got to be the dumbest mother effers I've ever seen, or even a Western Express. Fuck, get a good freaking company to pay you. I mean, if you're turning the key and you're making 60, 70,000, you've already dumbed yourself down to working for these shitbox carriers, these mega carriers. I mean, good golly. You know, if these foreigners want to sign on with these turds and make 20, 25 cents a mile, yeah, they were making that back in like 1980, 82, 85. But, you know, if you want to be a slave to the industry, you know, slavery is alive and well in America. Just go out here and work for an employer that won't take care of you. So, they're all over the place, even in manufacturing. So Tyson Foods is another one. Hell, I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. I won't even buy their products. I refuse to. Hell, I I would not eat Tyson Foods. You might as well just eat, I want to say, arsenic coated shit. So, yeah, that's me when I'm on a good rant, and I'm feeling pretty spicy today. So let's talk about what Sean Duffy had to say last Friday, starting today. Awesome. Let's quit kicking the can down the road. Well, we're going to get to it. It's like, no, immediately we're going to do this as an emergency act. So they published an emergency interim final rule for today that drastically restricts who is eligible for non-domiciled commercial driver's license and commercial learner's permits. The rule, which went effect immediately, was enacted in response to fatal crashes and involving all these non-domicile, basically illegal immigrants that were given licenses by your shittiest states in the country, California, Illinois, New York. I mean, these are just shitbox states and cities. I mean, freaking Beirut looks like a great tropical place to go to these day and ages compared to like LA or Chicago or New York City. I mean, they look like a bombed out landfill is each one of those cities. And you want to drink the water there. You think Flint water was bad? I'm sure it's got to be this piss and shit down the drains and all that in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, LA. So, hey, if that's where you want to eat and drink your water and all that, have at her. You will never see me there. And we're starting to make a stance on talking about being armed going into Chicago for deliveries. That place is just one big turd hole. So, key provisions of the emergency rule: stricter eligibility requirements. Non-citizens, excluding lawful permanent residents, can only qualify for non-domiciled learner permits and CDLs. If they can qualify if they hold one of these three specific employment-based visas, H-2A, H-2B, or E-2. Previous forms of work authorization, such as employment authorization documents, EADs, are no longer sufficient. So you can't have you gotta have your green card. You better have your shit together now. And you gotta have all three. You can't have just one of the three or two of the three. You gotta have them all. I'm glad they're tightening this up. Mandatory immigration status verification. State driver's license agencies are now required to use the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, systematic Allen verification for entitlements system to confirm an applicant's legal status. And they put a hold on issuing any more non-domicile CDLs because they're making the DMVs at these states go backtrack, and people that don't fulfill these requirements are to downgrade their CDLs. So if these guys already been out here for a year, under the illegal status, and now they don't meet these requirements that are now implemented starting today, then they're downgraded. Due time, as the DMVs are, probably going to have to put staff on now to start going through and filtering and vetting all the issued ones. Whether or not California abides to this, because they think they're a bunch of entitlement shit-tards out there that, with that god awful, that governor out there. I don't know. I got some choice words, but for that guy, he's about as useless as shit on shit. S.E.E. reduced validity period. Non-domiciled CDLs will now be issued for a maximum of 1 year or until the expiration date of the visa, whichever comes first. So their visa to be here in America or their CDL, whichever one runs out on its expiration date, they're out. They can't drive no more. In-person renewals. All renewals must be done in person at the SDAL office. Online or mail-in renewals are no longer permitted. You have to go in there, folks. So dicker, you gotta take your little brown butt in there. Required documentation. Applicants must provide an unexpired foreign passport and a valid form of I-94, I-94A arrival departure record. So you basically have to show when you came in this country. You can't just say, well, I just jumped the fence, came here, and now give me a license. You got to show when you got to check in over there at Ellis Island, or check into one of the stations down there when you come across the Rio Grande. Rationale and enforcement. Increased safety. The FSCMA's action was prompted for safety concerns stemming from fatal crashes involving, and all of them were pretty much involved with the non-domicile drivers, and evidence of states improperly issuing license. State accountability. The new rule holds states accountable for issuing these licenses correctly. Federal audits found what the hell did they put? Errors in several states, including California, where a significant number of non-domiciled CDLs were improperly issued and sometimes remained valid long after the driver's lawfully stay expired. Targeted endorsement. In addition to the emergency rule, the FMCSA has initiated enforcement actions against California for its non-compliance. The state paused issuing non-domiciled CDLs and audit previously issued ones. States that fail to comply risk losing federal highway funding. No supply chain disruption expected. So here's the thing. California's already said, look, we got $11 billion in surplus. We don't give a shit about your $30 million. Right now, Duffy's saying he's going to hold $30 million from their federal state funding. California's kind of gave them the finger and said, it's chump change. We don't care. Newsom's like, yeah, we're the fourth largest economy in the world. And no, you're not. And I can't wait for the immigrants to uprise and say they've had enough of that crap, being slaves in the fields of agriculture there. So, what else? And then it goes up from there to 30 million to 160, and it just keeps doubling. But for other states, it may be a big deal, but for California, they don't care. I just say, look, stop doing a percentage of what you're going to take for federal funding. Myself, I would just come out, I'd just shoot from the hip right on the get-go and say, look, all your federal funding's pulled, boom, yank it. So you get nothing. If you're so cocky on being a large economy as you are, California, then I say, then you don't need our help. Pull their funding. And better yet, pull all your federal agencies out of there. Better yet, pull all the military out of there. And say, there, you go take care of you. And see how that lasts. And if I was companies, I'd say, dude, I'll drop your shit at the state line. That's it. I wouldn't even come in there. And so you better start setting up distribution centers at the state line. Trucking companies get smart and say, we're not going to haul into California. A lot of them have been for many years now. They're like, nah, I won't go in there. And here's the thing I have heard from a leasing company, and it was not Ryder. It was Star Truck Rental and Leasing. I think they got absorbed up by Penske now. But I was there for doing a safety class, and he was talking about reefers. When someone's calling to lease or rent a reefer trailer to haul produce, and if it's going to California, they're like, nope, we don't have any. We're out. Don't know when we'll get another one in. They will not send it out there because of the emissions and all the crap, to go out there and what that reefer, the engine on that reefer's got to go through. So anyhow, that's the non-domicile side of it. And, I'm happy for that. That's at least one step. And there's got to be more steps to happen, but that's one of many. To me, quit playing around, Sean Duffy, and just pull all their federal funding. Screw it. Who gives a turd rip? Oh, what about this and what about that? Well, Gavin Newsom says they're the biggest economy, they're in the top 5 in the world. Pull his damn funding. Who gives a shit turd? If you're dumb enough to stay there and live in that state, well, you deserve the consequences then. So, it's a shit box. If I never have to go and see that state again, that's fine with me. But anywho, outside of that, and Oklahoma, it's state officials, governor, has told New York, if you're going to keep issuing CDLs to these non-domicile and illegal immigrants, and they don't have a name or anything or address. I mean, these things they were showing a license that the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, or state highway, they took a picture of it, and basically no name was given, no nothing. I mean, it looked like that from that movie Superbad, where, your ID is McLovin. And that was about it. And they said, nope, we're going to take that license away. We're going to shut that guy down, and we're going to impound the truck. So the towing companies are having a field day. They said already about 175 of them from New York they've already gotten, or 125. So, hey, power to them. Let's get these turds off the road and make our highways safer for not only our children sitting on the side of the road waiting for the bus, or walking to school, or a school bus that has stopped picking up children. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, these boneheads are coming in here. They can't understand signs. They don't know what a school zone sign is, or flashing lights to slow down in a school zone. I mean, this is the ignorance. And then yet, the people on the left, the people that are protesting, that are harboring these fugitives, it's like, we can't do this to these people until they run over their own damn family. So when these liberals, and when these encounter these illegals that run over them, their family, or someone they know, ooh, now we have to take affirmative action on that, because, it's okay for thee, but not for me, so now we got to do something about it. It's like, come on. I mean, you want to talk about a bunch of people that contradict themselves and have double standards, that have no skill sets, that, these damn liberal women get on there, and I've been seeing a lot more short reels about these liberal women. We're all the good men in that. Men don't want to date or marry broads like you. Fuck, you burn the damn jello. So why the hell would they want to be with you? So, you're having to Google or ask Facebook for advice on how long to cook minute rice. So what the hell? I wouldn't want to. I'd rather be single than have to deal with some needy broad like that that's always bitching on TikTok, or spending more, cashing checks, spending more money, and then she can cash checks. It's like, jeez. I don't know. I have fun. I'll tell you what. I can be pretty lit up. Have me a couple bourbons and a stogie, and you can hear a lot of unfiltered stuff out of my ass. And well, maybe tonight's the night for some of that. So some people need to hear it. Well, I'm butthurt. It hurts my feelings. I don't care. You come to the wrong channel. Yeah. And I'm not afraid to call these guys out here, too, if they do some dumbass shit out here, whether it's at the truck stop or at a shipper and receiver. I'll call them out for what it is. As you can see, so if anybody from, that's not my company, but I do change. As soon as I stop and pull the brakes and I'm logging off for the day, my company shirt comes off. So when I go on the truck stop, they don't know who I work for. I'm not going to put up, I'm definitely not going to lay down and take shit from these simps. So whatever you want to call them, far left, liberal, I don't care even if the far right. I'm I'm on the fence. I want to hear both sides of the ideology of their thinking, but more or less lately, it's been the far left just whining and crying because, it's okay to implement that on one side, but not on them, So, hey, when discipline has got to happen, and it's got to happen both sides, So when your brother gets spanked and then you do something wrong and you get spanked and then now you're crying, why me? I didn't do nothing wrong. Because you also need to be held accountable. And that's the problem with America. First world problem. Don't hold me accountable. Deflect it on someone else. I know that's the American way. Deflect it on something else. Oh, it's politics why I can't be successful. It's politics why I got cancer. It's politics why I slid off the road and flipped my car and now I'm crippled up in a wheelchair. It's always politics' problem. And it's hilarious to see the first world problems come out of Americans' mouth of deflecting anything but accountability for their dumbass, I want to say happenings or decisions that they have made to, to affect their lives. And when it doesn't go their way, it's someone else did it to me. Hold yourself. Go look in the mirror. Rainbow, sparkle farts with your rainbow hair, and hold yourself accountable. But I know you can't do that because you're always right and everyone else is wrong, and that's the way it is. And I don't know. I've called people out. I've called them out for their shit, whether they're in a fuel island or anywhere out in life. Call them out on stuff. They don't like it, but oh well. And hey, I've done things wrong. I've told my wife I'm not an easy person to live with, but I don't point the finger at my upbringing like my mom and dad. I don't blame the government. Things have happened to me because of the decisions I had made on myself. So therefore, I can only look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm where I'm at because of my decisions. So life lessons are, don't make that decision again to hinder myself. Whether it's, I want to say, advancement for a career or monetary and, I want to say money-wise. So that's the one thing I've taken for affirmative action on is just recognizing and understanding any of the financial stuff I've done irresponsibly growing up to say, you know what, I'm not doing that again. I've been working too hard. So now, we are very, very in our house, the wife and I, on being fiscally responsible. When we have discretionary money, we invest it, but we also put some aside for emergency fund. But the big thing is any side hustles, anything we do extra over and above this payroll from driving truck, that money gets tucked away into investments that give us more of a return or spread on the money. So what's this cat doing? He's been driving around in this flatbed that was next to me. He backed out of here because he pulled straight in. Now he's over there circling around the parking lot on the other side of the few islands when he had a parking spot here, so I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, you got anything you guys want to add to what I've had to say, or bring something and put it in the chat here, something else we can bring up on discussion. But the one thing I will say is I'm not going to walk around with my head down or put my head in the sand. I'm a pretty well lit up firecracker when I want to be, and saying what I have to say. And if it hurts your feelings, I don't give two shits. Sometimes you just you got to get over it and move on. And for some people, they got to go see a therapist for it. Because if I don't go get therapy, I can't function in life. any more than having a phone freaking wired up your ass to walk out to the mailbox and figure out how to get there and back to the front door. So, yep, that's our society, about as dumbed down as a box of rocks and melted crayons. So, surprised I got here tonight, and well, I got here about when did I get here? Right there. Yeah, I think I shut down just after 4, so I got here and there was plenty of parking. I know I got here like this a couple of weeks ago and the place was packed, but I think it was because we just came off from Labor Day week, and I think a few other guys like myself took the week off, so everyone was kind of bum rushing getting back out on the road. I've been noticing an uptick, but that could be because, corporations, the United States of corporations, I wouldn't even call it the United States of America anymore, United States of corporations, their mindset is Labor Day. Let's get the Halloween, the Thanksgiving, and the Christmas decorations out. Got to go, make that profit margins. And so now they're moving, stuff's getting moved because now they're promoting all the buy for Christmas, get the ungrateful little, what do I want to say, the ungrateful little, demon seeds, their gifts and all that, so you got to shop ahead. I stopped doing that some time ago. We usually give the kids a little bit of money. We'll wire them a little bit of money, and when I say a little bit, a couple $100. They're grown adults. My kids are 38, 28. They got careers. They don't really need anything. And no, I don't buy gifts. My wife and I have been together going on 15 years. We have never exchanged Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, or anniversary. So we just don't do the gift thing. I think that's just a hallmark staple in this country. Well, that's tradition. That's an American thing. That's a first world thing. That is nothing to do. Christmas, you're missing the light if you think you got to go out and buy a tree full of freaking gift wrap to put some shit under the tree for someone that's going to be as ungrateful as, Charlie Manson on shit. So, but, yeah. So we don't do gifts. We're just thankful and grateful that we have each other, and we have shelter over our head, and we have food on the table. So we just, we're all about that. So there's a lot of people, I don't know, there's a lot of people out there living out of their cars, methed out and drugged out on the sidewalk in tents. There's a lot worse circumstances out there. So, we just count our blessings because it could be far worse. Or, if you think you're going all well in life and life's going well and you're just trugging right along, and then boom, your health gets taken from you. And my wife and I, over the last 14 years, we have, through our businesses, have endured a lot of friends and customers in their 30s and 40s up to 50 years old. We've had one good friend that died at 37 years old of a heart attack, died in his sleep. And then another one at 45 years old went to bed, never woke up, died in their sleep of a heart attack. So 2 from that, and the rest were all cancer. And mainly it was all pancreatic cancer. And a few of them had the Whipple surgery and it was unsuccessful. So bone or pancreatic cancer, once you got that, you might as well just sign your death warrant, and you might as well get all your affairs while you got your sensibility before you hit stage 4, and just get all your shit, liquidate what you got to liquidate, give away what you got to give away, and just make sure, kids, family, and everyone else is kind of taken care of. Our one friend that had pancreatic cancer, it wasn't until he was in the last stages, like going into hospice of stage 4 pancreatic cancer, his fucking disability came through. Yeah, it's like, hey, thanks, now I got my disability. I'm not doing shit for them, It's like, just rack up the medical bills and say, well, they died, so sad, too bad, can't pay the bills. He left an only son behind as a teenager then. So, because he was 45, I want to say he's 45, 43. We had one of our dogs, his previous owner, she died 50, 51 years old of pancreatic cancer. Um, and Laura, I know you've been in here, the moderator, Miss Laura, so she could probably give me a list of people that, we've lost as friends over lots of health issues. But that's been mainly the two, is heart and pancreatic cancer. So, cancer, yeah, pancreatic cancer, but cancer and heart-related stuff. So, yeah, if you don't have your health, you know, so you can sit on your soapbox and be the protester out there with your rainbow hair, but yeah, when you're, then the next day, you get diagnosed with something, you know, you've been out there being an asshole or mean, in society. It's like, now you want people to feel sorry for you? I've seen that. I've seen that on these TikTok reels, and I just laugh, and I'm like, I got no sympathy for you. If you're going to be a bad person and then turn around and want the sympathy train and the boo-hoo, it's not happening here. Dude, slow the fuck down. Motherfucker. What is up with these shit turds? Slow the fuck down. This guy here, he came in here, it's the truck stop, but he come rolling in here. I'd have been doing at least 35. I'll put you guys out there for a little bit, but yeah, so they just race on through here. Now let's see if the shit turd can back up without bashing into any of the trucks here. So, but yeah, that's about it for what I've had to say. That Sean Duffy came out Friday and is taking affirmative action on the non-domicile. I would say, if these states aren't going to be compliant, just pull the full federal funding away. Just pull it all. They don't need it. Let them fend for themselves. Quit being dependent on the government. That's the problem. That's the weakness of Americans. They're dependent on others to support them. And that is a sad, sad situation, that you have left yourself so vulnerable to be dependent on the government, whether local, state, or federal agencies, family or friends, like being a burden of family, and, that you need them to hold your hand, wipe your ass, and pay your bills. It's like, you know what? Nope. Sorry, some of these parents, you just need to go drop your kid on their ass, let them get bruised, and, shut the front door and say, figure it out. Let them be out in the cold for a while. They got to have life lessons, and the only way they're going to learn it is to fail. And if you're going to coddle them, you're the problem, and that's bad parenting. And my kids will come right out and say I'm a dick. I'm not gonna deny it, but I know I am. But you know what? If I die tomorrow, at least they have been roughed up and know what the world is going to be like. So I wanted them to experience how rough and cold the world is, because if I'm not here tomorrow, then they can survive. They have the life skills to survive in a harsh environment that this world brings to human beings. So, but if you're going to coddle them and you die tomorrow, and your kid is going to be sitting there throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the floor, not knowing how to pay bills or find solution to problems, or know how to pay electric bill, pay rent, pay car insurance, any insurance, how to address, filling out applications, whether for a job or for a healthcare form, you'd be surprised, or bank or anything banking wise, how dumbed down and stupid these kids are, and how far these have coddled to these little demon seeds. So you got to be you got to know when to cut the cord and just let these kids fall and fail. in life. But should they be abused and raped and all that? Well, absolutely not. That's where we need to step in as a society and get rid of these bad actors and punish them for what they have done, bodily harm to other human beings. That is not justifiable. But yet the Democrats have deemed it okay for rape and pillage of children and women and men in sports and all that. So not cool, and I definitely am not on that wagon. So, but yeah, chat's a little quiet tonight. Yeah, I was a little fired up, but hey, that is what it is. Sometimes you get me this way, sometimes you get me in a more reasoning state, but yeah, I've been around the block enough times. The thing about me is I left home at 16. My mom and I did not see eye to eye on things. Her parenting, I recognized at 16 that her parenting kind of really sucked. So I moved in with friends of the family that raised us when we were young kids as a nanny, but we still, kept them close in the family. So I paid room and board to them. I worked through high school, junior and senior year. So I paid my way, car insurance, took care of my own car, whether it needed brakes, oil change, tires. I learned to do it all. Back in the early 80s, hell yeah. If I needed tires, I'd go to the junkyard, buy a good set of tires, get a couple crowbars, and pop the old ones off the rims, pop the new ones on, air them up. Usually got a buddy who's got an air compressor, and I change my own damn tires. I mean, when you're broke and you need to get your car fixed, you will overcome and find ways to get your car on the road and get you to work. So, yeah, I'm thankful for that, because I don't think I'd have had the life skills, let alone the street smarts, to survive through my 20s like that if I was living at home and being coddled. So, but I didn't have coddling parents, I'll say that much. My dad was way more like a drill sergeant. He was kind of like that drill sergeant Gunny there from Full Metal Jacket. It's kind of like my dad, pretty much. And my wife's gotten to meet both of my parents, and she knew I dreaded her to have to meet my parents. And after she got to meet them for the first time, she goes, "I can see why." And that was the end of that. But I said, I don't blame them for the way I turned out. I left home. So, anything from 16 years old and on, I said, that's on me. That was all me. So, the way where I turned out in life is on me. I've gone to college twice. I got a couple degrees. I've got blue collar skill sets. So, but I think more people need to be all on their own. And parents just refuse to do that. So, because, well, fiscal responsibility and all that now. Kids are moving back in even in their 30s. They can't make it now because their jobs just won't cover rent and cars and all that. That's the thing about first world problems in America is everyone thinks they got to have a new car. And needless to say, our newest car is a 2019, and that's been the least problematic car at 6 years old. It's a Toyota Highlander. And then I got a 2012 Ford Fusion. I got a 2010 Dodge Ram. I've owned the latter of the two basically over 12 years now on both. And I keep them maintained. But I don't want a car payment, and I don't want to go out and look for another car. I know what I got in these. I keep them maintained under my watch, so that's that. But I got better things to do with my time than to be shop. 3, 6, 12 months later, I got to go get another car because I've worn this, this marketplace beater down, and now I got to go, flip and get me another car. And I just keep them maintained and keep them going. And all they do is get me from A to B. If I need to take a trip like the wife and I did last year for her surgeries in Texas, I just go down to Enterprise. I'm like, why should I drive? What was it? 900 miles, 1,000 miles one way we drove to for that surgery, and I said my car breaks down. It's on me to find a wrecker, me to find a repair shop, get it fixed, what have you, what have you. And I said, if I rent from Enterprise, all I gotta do is call their emergency line, and they get the hook. That's all on them. Any more than renting a U-Haul moving truck, if it breaks down, it's on them to get the repair and get you a replacement. And that was on Enterprise. So that's just you're renting insurance is what you're doing when you rent a car from them. So fiscal responsibility. I remember I put that in the headline, but that's just it. It's kind of the premise I wanted to kind of hover around today. And the other thing too is, having some assets that are tangible, whether it's real estate, owning, property, a house, a rental house. Owning a car is not an asset. It is a liability. It's a depreciating liability. Gold and silver, metal, something that's tangible, something that you can touch, that is an asset. That's a financial responsibility. Stock market's it's melting up right now, and when it pops, it's gonna be worse than the .com, let alone the GFC of the 2008 to 2012 crash. So when things go, they're going to go hard. And right now, private equity that is sitting on junk assets, CMBSs, commercial mortgage-backed securities, which is your commercial buildings, kind of like some of the skyscrapers and that they have leveraged up at the bank. So some of these banks, some of these private equities, hedge funds, they're sitting on owning a lot of these commercial buildings. They are trying to harbor them. They've been moving around here and there. They're trying to move them from one balance sheet to another. They don't want to do the write down on them, because if one building gets written down, when they say write down, it means devaluing it, like bringing it in and having someone assess it, what is this worth? And they're trying to keep it propped up, just like the housing market. The Federal Reserve and all these hedge funds and private equities that have a lot of these single home family homes or multiplex rental units, they're trying to keep all the buildings propped up in value, running out of gas on it. And these things need to have price discovery. And the price discovery they're going to find out is back to where it should be, from like 25 years ago. But they've been just valuing it up since the 2008 crash. So, private equity, Donald Trump signed an executive order. Now he's allowing private equity or these hedge funds to take these garbage assets and now sell them and put them into these date stamped 401ks and that, when you pick a date stamp of like when you're going to retire, like say 2045, 2050. So basically they're going to put all their garbage that is a liability on their balance sheets. They're going to sell it, wrap it up, and put it over into these 401k funds. And they're going to put it in people's retirement pension funds. And when these things tank, they're going to pull down your retirement fund, whether it's a pension, whether it's a 401k. They're setting it up for people to take the loss on these are going to be through that. So you're going to see a lot of changes within the next, say, 12 to 18 months. You're going to see shit hit the fan on that. So, Donald Trump had wrote an executive order to allow them to move those liabilities. They call them assets, but liability assets off from their balance sheet so they can stay propped up. The banking sectors and the private equities and hedge funds. So that's why I've been putting a lot of my stuff into more tangible things that I'm not going all in. Like my 401k, I just match what my employer will match. So, if they match 4 or 5%, that's all I put in. So I don't want to put everything in the stock market. Oh, but you get a good return, and God forbid if you listen to Dave Ramsey. Good God, that guy is a shitty financial guru. And right now, you need to get your stuff over into a safe haven that does not have third-party counter risk and is not uh, susceptible to volatility from the stock market. So for me, we have cash value whole life that we can put capital in. We have, of course, metals, uh, Bitcoin. I was listening to a podcast today for an hour and 7 minutes on how Bitcoin it's not centralized. The thing of it is Ethereum and what is that? Some of those Solana, the crypto, some of those cryptocurrencies that Trump is involved in and the government is involved in, they're centralized. That means they can go in and if they don't like what you're doing, they can shut them off. They can turn off to where you can get access to it. So it's like a central digitalized currency. So Bitcoin is not centralized. So a lot of folks have made out good on that. You just got to know how to move it when you need to liquidate it to get value out of it for purchase. Whether I would never keep it on the exchange, put it in a cold wallet, but yeah, that would be I would just do dollar cost average in a Bitcoin, but put it into like a cold wallet. When you buy some more, I wouldn't keep it on the exchange. Stack metals. Just find some other ways to get away from, hover around on the outside perimeter of the stock market and the banking sector right now. I just get away from all that. You're not going to get the biggest spread. You're not going to get that 15 plus spread like some of these stocks do, because we're in such a huge bubble. But right now, you want to preserve the money you do have. Whether you get a 2, 4, 5% return, 6% return on it, that's fine. With this crisis going on out here right now, I would just park your capital in a safe haven, tangible asset, and not so much stuff that's backed by paper and can go up like vaporware when it does erupt, this market crash. So that's my best advice. But I'm not a financial guy. I don't claim to be one. I just know right now I'm not going to partake into the stock market and this Nvidia and all that crap, because it is a bubble and you just keep watching this balloon get pumped up every week, every month. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Sooner or later it's going to pop. When it does, there's going to be so many people that are going to come down with it. And what they say, the Nvidia on the S&P, what was it, Nvidia? The S&P, what it made up of the S&P was like 8% of it. It's a huge slice of it right now, and it's going to affect the S&P. And I've got one of my assets into the S&P for an index fund, but I'm not going to lose money. But if the S&P tanks, I just won't be making the gains on it. I keep all the gains and never take the loss on the way I got my index fund set up through my IUL. But it's just a safe haven to keep stuff or keep cash in right now. So I want to wait till this rips and this falls and collapses. Then we can kind of, when we hit the bottom, that's when you want to start. You want the collapse to happen. So when things get to the bottom, you want to be liquid on the backside when that happens. That way you can go buy up these assets when they're pennies on a dollar, and they fall into the ground. So, and that'll be a good time to buy real estate. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. I'm getting liquid to ready to purchase real estate. I want to buy us a nice house or a house for the future. So that's what I'm cocked and loaded and ready to, pull the trigger on. But right now we're watching. Where we want to buy, we're watching, but we're not seeing movement yet. So, but it's gonna come. So we're getting excited for that. Anyhow, 55 minutes into it. Other than Miss Laura, she's only been the only one in here. It's made a comment, so no one's got anything to say tonight. Yeah, I kind of went on a tangent, but hey, sometimes things need to be said, feelings need to be hurt. You grow thick skin and you get over it and you move on. But you know what? If you gotta get butt hurt and go out and stomp up and down and throw a temper tantrum, throw yourself in the middle of the parking lot and kick and scream like a fish out of water, I guess. A lot of these folks at 30, 40, 50 years old do that, and I'm just like, wow. I am glad they're not any of my friends, because I'd be pulling back far and fast from anyone that acted like that. But yeah, you got to have thick skin in the world now, and you definitely got to watch your back and look into everything you do. You can't take anyone's word for it. It's just like the news. You know what? I don't want someone to tell me the news. Just give it to me. Give me the subject, the matter at hand. Let me read it. Let me research it. Let me deduct from it. I can read. I don't need you to tell me what is right and wrong from the news. I can assess from that. And of course, you can, as individuals, you can make your own judgments. You don't need any of the mainstream media to tell you this person bad, this person good, this person bad, this person good. You know what? You need to have your own sense of judgment of character on people to know if they should be in your circle, if you should trust them, befriend them. But that's the thing is you got to grow your own spidey sense on understanding people and their character and whether or not they can be trusted into your circle. So, that's just it. That's why I don't listen to the mainstream media. I hear things on certain channels, and I then go out and look for the information, and I read up more on it. Reason. What do they call that? Deduction. Reasonable deduction or something like that. I forget. Getting tired right now, but you need to do your own due diligence and look up things. And God knows, since the internet's come, everyone's became a nurse and a doctor with WebMD. Holy shnikes, how many times I've gotten in debates at the hospital when I worked there over that. So be conscious, you're not professional trained healthcare workers and trying to do your own bathroom surgery at home. That's been more than comical to see coming to hospital. But you'd be surprised how many people try that because the internet told them to. So, heaven knows AI is here now, so they'll probably take everything is true through AI. So that's they're reliant on these phones and the computer and what the computer generates for information back. And sometimes if you turn it off and just stand back and look at the world in real time, you can usually deduct things in your own sense. Like, yeah, today it was clear, sky's blue, trees are green, grass is green. Yep, I don't need anyone from the computer to tell me otherwise. So it's the way it is in the world. But sometimes you got to stand back, as they say, smell the roses and just take in a good breath of fresh air and see the world for what it is in real time. Stay safe, continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught. And we will see you all in the next video.